Hello, everybody, and welcome to Uproot Reddit. For those of you working in retail, there are just some people you cannot stand to have as your customers. Even if said customer always pulls out the dreaded mantra, the customer is always right. Really? Reddit user Dr. Stonks has had it up to here with milk spilling everywhere. In today's post, customer drops milk jug, proceeds to grab another and buys it without giving us a chance to clean the previous mess. Well, no use in crying over spilled milk, am I right? Let's go ahead and see what this customer is really up to in today's post. Quote, "Hey all, you may remember my post from last week about that guy who got away with $2,000? Well, this happened not even 3 days later. So, like I said in my previous post, I'm a closing cashier most days, with a few days where I'm in the aisles helping throw freight here and there. Today was another cashier day, and it was right after my day off. The shift was going fine and all, not that many rude customers, a couple of times where I was pulled from the register to help move some stuff, the works. And then it happened. Enter Kevin. Not his real name. Kevin seemed normal enough, nothing weird about him. He came to me with an armful of items and asked where the milk was. I pointed him to the dairy section and he just kind of left his stuff on my conveyor belt and walked like he didn't have a bunch of items on my belt. I think to myself, okay, a little weird, but whatever. He should be back soon. I guess Kevin forgot to get a cart? Question mark? Then again, maybe this is his first day shopping at a grocery store. Who knows? 5 minutes and a couple of customers later, he finally comes up with another armful of things, not including the milk. Sir? Did you find the milk okay? Oh, darn it. I got distracted. Hold on. Another 5 minutes go by and he finally gets a jug of milk. The transaction goes like normal. He pays and he gets ready to leave. Did you want me to grab a cart for you, sir? That seems like a lot of stuff to carry. Nah, I got it. Grabs everything but the milk, which he saved for last. I legit thought to myself the second before this happens, I sure hope he doesn't drop it. Well, boy, let me tell you, he drops it from his arms to the floor. The jug cracked on both sides, so even if the other cashier I had in front of me was plugging one hole, the other would just be a milky waterfall. We panic and toss it in her trash can and call for a wet cleanup. Now, usually if someone damages an item in store that they already bought, we'll replace it for them. They already paid anyways. However, I was in so much shock from the sheer amount of milk that had ended up on the floor on my point of sale station, and even going into my co-worker's point of sale, that he ended up buying another jug. So he goes to get it while I'm trying to get as much milk up as I possibly can without a mop, until a courtesy clerk shows up. And he goes into my line. You know, the one with the dairy flash flood that would make Noah's Ark blush. So now, he's got more of a mess since he's leaving boob prints everywhere in the front, and he's bought another jug of milk. I didn't care. I just wanted him out of there so I could get this cleaned up. It took us about a half an hour to get all of the milk out of wherever it all went to. The manager saw all this and she let me take my last 10 minutes early. The only sort of ending I have to this story is that a couple of days later, I was in the aisles with the courtesy clerk that helped me clean it all up. Basically, just helping set up spots to put the new product in. And Kevin's back. He recognized me and immediately apologized. I wasn't mad or anything at him. It was just a whole sequence of events that kind of overwhelmed me at the time. I said it was fine and I was glad to help him out. And he went on his way. So basically, I'm gonna have non-flashbacks whenever I see a gallon of 2% in my fridge. Lol. Blech, gross. Milk spilling everywhere. At least the customer bought an essential item, and at least he was kind enough to apologize. That was very sweet. More so than this upcoming story of a customer who thought that beer mugs were essential. In fact, Reddit user Ghost in Drawing Room experienced an entitled customer who treats their shop like a Burger King. In today's post, beer mugs aren't essential, neither is your attitude. So the store I work at is currently closed to the public because of a shelter-in-place order. We aren't deemed essential, so in our downtime, we've been getting lots of projects done, such as cleaning the floors and other prep work for when we reopen. On Tuesday, my supervisor and I are busy breaking down a table so we can start putting out our summer merchandise. When we hear someone pounding on the front door, she goes over to the door and asks what he needs. The guy says he needs a pill box for his father's medication. Since the store is closed and it's only the two of us working, we tell him it's okay to come in and purchase said item. We direct him back to our health and beauty section and decide to just go up front to the register to take a break. A few minutes later, the guy approaches the register, not with a pill box, but 4 beer mugs.
I can't find a price for these. Can you cut me a break?
Sir, this isn't what I let you in for.
I changed my mind. So, what will you take for the mugs?
Well, they each have price tags on the bottom. The guy looks at the mug, sees that they're almost $3 each because they're the thick, heavy glass ones, and practically shoves them over the counter. He then blows up, yelling that he didn't want them in the first place, and storms out. I grab the front door key and lock the door. My manager and I go back to working on the merchandising when 10 minutes later, there's banging on the door again. It's the same guy. We just ignored him and carried on with our work. He stands there, giving us the stink eye for a few more moments before finally getting in his car and leaving. If this is how people are going to behave when we eventually do open back up, it's gonna be one heck of a summer. Earth to customer, what'd you expect to happen, dude? You go in there with false intentions of getting a pill box when literally you find the one thing that you don't need. Plus, there's always a thing called, what was it again? Online shopping if you're so keen on getting beer mugs. Be thankful that they gave you a reasonable price. Speaking of price naming, Reddit user, whatever matey, has to get a little politically correct with a customer on pricing. In today's post, customer storms out after I was trying to get a price for an item. And here's where the dreaded mantra gets tested. Quote, so I work at a DIY store and it was a busy Saturday, about mid-afternoon. A gentleman came up to my till already looking annoyed, so I tried to limit conversation with him. He placed a bath seal on the belt. I scanned it, it came up as 17 euros. Simple, right? No. He was saying I was wrong. The till was wrong, and it was 14 euros. Oh boy, a €3 difference. How tragic. Well, I had previously worked in that department and no, it was not 14 euros. However, I called a colleague that was from that department to check the price with the till landline. I've got a customer here who has a bath seal. He says it's 14 euros, but it's coming up as 17 euros. Could you please check this for me? And gave my colleague the barcode. Well, it was busy and loud, so I had to repeat myself. And this is where the man started shouting at me. Not for not believing him or having to call a colleague, but because I said, he said, not the customer said. Now I was in shock. So I stood there with my colleague still on the phone. He was shouting how bad my customer service skills were, how he should have it for 14 euros, and then decided to pick up the bath seal, throw it at me, and storm out, shouting he will take his business elsewhere. Now, is the customer always right when the customer is throwing a bath seal at a retail worker? I'd say that's harassment. My manager, the colleague, and that colleague's manager came straight to me to see what had gone on. He returned into the store and spoke to customer services to complain and started shouting at my colleague that was working there. It also called up after he drove off, to which my manager hung up on him after he called me a stupid wench. He got banned from our store. Seriously, why sweat over a €3 difference? Over a bath seal? You know, be it spilled milk, so-called essential items, or naming a price tag, customers aren't always right. And neither is their attitude. Retail workers get the most flack when they're just trying to do their job. For those of you who are working in retail right now, I salute to you. And I only hope for the best for you all. Anyways, that's all the time we have for today. We'll be back for more dreaded customer encounter stories right here on Uproot Reddit.